How long does an inspection take?
So a home inspection should last about 3 to 5 hours. If you're a multi-firm home inspector, they might do it in 2.5. But a good 3 to 5 hours, you can see a lot within that time frame. One of the most important things you should do, though, is walk with the home inspector after the inspection. That way they can share whatever's been identified in that report, and that way you're not overwhelmed. My reports, I have a lot of pictures. That can be alarming sometimes, but I try to explain to them that those are normal, but you want a very clear snapshot condition of that home during your inspection.
So, Dino, how long does it take to get a report back?
So typically, it may take you 24 to 48 hours, sometimes 72 hours to get that report, depending on the size of the home. In today's industry, you don't want to wait that long. I try to get the report within 12 hours. That's the way you can make the best decision going forward and not be a time frame crunch as far as I got to get quotes from different contractors. I normally give you my top 5 or 6 items, and I'll give you a price estimate. That way you get an idea of, hey, if we're going to move forward, this is what it's going to cost to repair the items identified in the report during the inspection.
So, if you're paying cash for a home, would you really need a home inspector?
Okay, if you're paying cash, you got a lot invested. And to think that if you're going to get a home that's $450,000 to $600,000, you definitely want to get it inspected. A visual walkthrough is not going to identify hidden issues, but a trained inspector is going to have the eye and actually function test the appliances, look on the exterior envelope to find out if there's any potential moisture issues, moisture damage, intrusion, rotted wood. A lot of things that we identify, people will go, wow, I didn't see that during the inspection. So it's so important, even though you're paying cash, or if you're not doing a due diligence, still get the home inspected. You want to know what needs to be taken care of. And a lot of times my customers use my reporting as a project hit list for things to be taken care of after they close on their home.
So, what items are worth walking away from?
The items worth walking away from, well, that's from the eyes of the buyer. The inspector doesn't want to be in the position to tell the buyer to buy or not buy because we don't know what the buyer is willing to work with. And it would be very frustrating for a realtor, for an inspector to say, I wouldn't buy this house for my dog. And I hear that a lot. That's not our responsibility. Our job is to observe and report and give them a very detailed report to that buyer so they can make the best decision moving forward. Older homes, they're going to have some issues. It's not uncommon to come across an issue with a home that, it's maintenance or whatnot, and there might be a lot of them, but they can be easily fixed. So I wouldn't walk away from a home if there was a deck board that needed to be replaced. So that's where you just got to kind of match the apples to apples and know exactly what you're getting into and ask the right questions.
So, if there is mold, is it worth pursuing the home? Is it treatable?
So if you find mold in your home, most inspectors, we're not certified to be mold specialists, but we know what it looks like. And we know where to look to see if there is possible mold. Mold can be lurking in a crawl space. It could be in a basement, up on subfloor wood above you. So I always recommend getting a licensed qualified specialist that is familiar with and can identify and report on it.
So, what about new construction? It's brand new, it's just been built. Should I get a home inspector for that?
So a buyer going into a new development is thinking, I don't need to get an inspector on a new home. And that's far from the truth. The house was constructed with these. And you see, there's so many pieces and parts that go into the construction of a home, they could be easily missed, especially by county inspectors, by the field supervisor. There are numerous times that I find items and issues in new construction that are identified at the pre-drywall before it's covered up, just to make sure that it's much easier to fix before they cover it up, and you want to identify it. Case in point, I had a home that had a condensate drain line that was run to the interior wall of the laundry room, and it did not discharge to any drainage. It was just to the wall. Just think if you would have had the drywall applied and the inspector might have looked at everything and appeared to be correct, but a week later, the buyer's wondering, why am I getting this moisture drainage in the laundry room? Because it would have been concealed. It would have been covered up and easily missed. So that's why it's so important to make sure you get a good, reputable inspector that's going to take his time or her time to go in and identify all these issues during the pre-drywall and the final inspection.
So, Dino, if we see termites, should we run from that home?
Now, here's the thing with termites. There can be visible indications of termites in a crawl space, in an unfinished basement. We might see activity, and we may want to report to say we recommend further evaluation by a company that's licensed and certified and bonded that can verify and call out if there is termite activity in the basement or the crawl space or surrounding areas of the exterior. Most inspectors, we're not licensed as wood destroying organisms or pests. That's why you always want to get a specialty contractor.